Thank you all so much. Hey, I'm Brandon founder of the Walk Away campaign. For those of you videoing, is it okay if I just walk around? Is that a problem? All right, you guys are sick of just staring over here, right? All right, let's move around. Okay, so I guess probably the number one question a lot of people have is, why did I walk away? There was a gentleman here tonight who asked me that very question. And basically, as was said earlier tonight, I grew up in rural Nebraska, and I was one of those people who knew from a really early age that I was a gay, well, I wasn't a man, I was a gay kid. And so I sort of fell into a very liberal camp early on in life because I bought into the very slick messaging of the liberal media, the Democrat Party, and I think the entertainment industry. When we watch television, when you watch MTV, when you watch movies, liberal ideology is sort of omnipresent, and it's there, I think, indoctrinating young minds when we're not even aware that it's happening. And so by the time that I grew up, or by the time I got to be a teenager, I already considered myself a liberal. And then when I graduated from high school, is there a weird echo, or is it just me?
Yeah.
Was it not there before?
No.
Okay. That's okay. Maybe I'll sing. It's got some good bleep on it. Maybe I'll just sing my speech tonight. So I graduated from high school and I moved to New York City. And when I moved to New York City, I fell in with an even more liberal camp in New York City. And sort of without question, went along with this sort of liberal ideology. And I always voted Democrat my entire adult life. And around 2015, when Donald Trump took that now very famous ride down the escalator, I thought, like most people, when Donald Trump announced that he was running for president, that it was a joke. I thought he was kidding. And, everybody at that time thought it was kind of funny. The late night talk show host thought it was funny. The liberal media thought that it was very funny. And it really wasn't until we got to about around the time of the Republican primary and it became clear that he was going to become the candidate that suddenly it wasn't so funny anymore. And suddenly there was sort of this fear that maybe Hillary Clinton, who of course deserved to be the first woman president, maybe didn't necessarily have this all sewn up after all. And I think this is exactly the point where the powers that be in the Democrat Party machine, which is to say the liberal media, which is just simply a propaganda arm for the Democrat Party, and the Democrat Party themselves, and the entertainment industry and the whole cabal, sort of put their heads together and thought to themselves, well, how are we going to take this guy out? How do we get rid of this now threat to Hillary Clinton, who deserves the office of president? And so I think that they asked themselves, well, what triggers liberals more than anything? Social injustice. We have to make this guy the most racist, the most bigoted, the most homophobic, the biggest second coming of Hitler that the world has ever seen. And that is precisely what they did. They started going to his rallies and extracting little sound bites and little moments and spinning them out of context, saying Donald Trump called all Mexicans rapists. Donald Trump advocates for the sexual assault of all women. Donald Trump mocked a disabled person. And I bought into all of it. I believed every single word that they said because I had always trusted the media that gave the news to my camp, the liberal camp, because they always claimed that they were the ones looking out for marginalized classes of people. They were the ones looking out for oppressed minority groups, black people, brown people, LGBT people. Never occurred to me for a moment that the media that I trusted was capable of engaging in lies, deception, manipulation, and the works. So it worked very effectively. I was very, very scared. But the same media that kept telling me that Donald Trump was the second coming of Hitler also said, well, he only has about a 3% chance of winning. So don't really worry about it. He's a horrible human being, yes, but this MAGA movement is not a real thing. He pays people to go to his rallies. He doesn't really have that big of a following. She's gonna win this in a landslide. And then we got to, the day before Election Day, and they were putting out headlines saying that Hillary Clinton had a 98, 99% chance of winning, that there's absolutely no chance that Donald Trump could win. So imagine my surprise on Election Day when I'm having my, first woman president party in my apartment in New York City. Very, very excited. Oh boy, we had snacks. We were rip-roaring ready to go. And So sitting there with my friends at the election night party at my apartment on the Lower East Side of New York City, and everyone's so excited, rearing to go, and then the day starts to progress, and it goes into the evening, and suddenly the oxygen is just being sucked out of the room in my little party. And we're starting to get the cold sweats a little bit, and everybody's starting to go, what the hell is going on? Like, what is happening? What? And finally, I'd say somewhere around like 10 or 11 p.m., we were all just completely in a state of shock. So all of my friends, the party just died. Everyone was like, I gotta go. But they hadn't called the election yet. In fact, it was somewhere around midnight that I went to bed on election night because I couldn't take it anymore. I was freaking out. My party was, in shambles anyway. I went to bed, but I couldn't sleep. And so about every 15 minutes or so, or not even 5, but every 5 minutes or so I would roll over and refresh the world's most reliable source, the Huffington Post. and then somewhere around 2:15 in the morning or so, there it was, his picture, with a giant red banner above his head that said, "Nightmare, President Trump." And underneath it, it said, "Millions to lose their health insurance, civil rights to be rolled back, ... and other possible headlines from a Trump presidency. They began literally predicting the future of what headlines would be under a Trump presidency. They wasted no time whatsoever with the fear-mongering and the scare tactics, making us feel like we were in mortal danger because Donald Trump was elected. And once again, I bought into it completely. I was working as a freelance hairstylist at that time in New York City, and it was very dramatic. I had to cancel my day the next day. I called into my agency and I said, "Cancel all my appointments. I can't be anywhere near scissors today." Or bleach. And so I did what any level-headed, rational, clear-thinking person would do. I got on Facebook and I started crying. And I made a live video all about how I could not understand what was going on. This made no sense to me. First of all, the media promised me, Rachel Maddow was like a second mother to me. Don Lemon was my father. Who? Oh God, he's some deranged uncle. I was trying desperately to understand, number one, how did the media get it so wrong? And number two, how on earth could anybody vote for this man who was so just morally deficient, so awful, such a terrible human being? What is the matter with you people? Now, I grew up in rural Nebraska, so I knew that probably the majority of people that I went to grade school, high school, teachers, people that I knew from my hometown, probably voted for Trump. But I had already pre-forgiven them because I knew he wasn't going to win. So, it's easy to be really magnanimous when you know that it doesn't cost you anything. I was like, I forgive you. But now, suddenly he did win, and I was pissed. And I was like, how did this happen? What is going on? So, for months, I was going on social media and asking these questions. Why did you vote for him? Why? What were you thinking? What was in your head? Nobody would answer me. No one would answer me. Radio silence. Well, the more that people wouldn't answer me, the more angry I was becoming, and also the more fearful I was becoming, because once again, that media system that I trusted so much was telling me that he was going to reverse civil rights for gay people, black people are going back to Africa, all of us gay people are going to be taken in the middle of the night to Mike Pence's concentration camps in Utah. No more immigrants. Immigration just ends today. And so I really, really wanted to understand, but nobody would answer me. And finally, somewhere around January 2017, right around the time he was about to take office, I posted on Facebook that I would never be able to understand how anyone could vote for a man who stood before a cheering crowd and mocked a reporter's disability. Really, what is the matter with you guys? And that was the first time in months that somebody finally answered me. It was a staunch Christian conservative named Diane who babysat me when I was a little kid. And we'd been friends for years on Facebook, but had many, many battles over the years about different political issues. And and it was really interesting because unlike most people who disagreed with me on Facebook, I never unfriended her. That was normally my policy. You disagree with me? Delete. But I never deleted Diane for some reason. And on this day in January 2017, she reached out to me privately on Facebook. And she said, listen, I'm not trying to start anything here. I don't want to get into a fight with you. I'm just asking, have you seen this? And she sent me a video from YouTube entitled, Debunking That Trump Mocked the Disabled Reporter. Now, I saw the title of this video and I became instantly enraged. I was just like, oh my God, here we go. This is more right-wing brainwashing, more Fox News propaganda. And then suddenly I got really gleefully delighted because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch this and tell her how stupid she is. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so good. I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna read it. You're so stupid, Diane. So I watched it for that very reason. And what happened next changed my life forever. It was a compilation of footage, about 2 or 3 minutes long, showing Donald Trump numerous times through numerous years and numerous circumstances doing that exact same voice and that exact same gesture as he did that day when he was accused of mocking a reporter's disability at that Trump rally. But the commonality in every single one of these instances was that he was imitating someone who was flailing because they were caught in a lie, or they were doing something shady, they were doing something dishonest. He was making fun of their dishonesty. And all of the people in all of those instances were not disabled. And it became very, very clear that something was terribly wrong with the story that I had been told by the media. And I had this moment of, I felt like I was almost dissociating from my body because there was this disconnect between my brain and my heart. Because my brain was telling me, oh my God, I don't think he mocked that reporter's disability. But my heart was saying, but we hate him, but we hate him, but we hate him. And so I watched it 3 times in a row that night and I could not make sense of it whatsoever. So I made a little deal with myself. I said, okay, put this away for tonight, get a good night's sleep. Maybe you just you need to make sense of this right now. Watch it again tomorrow, see what you think. So I went to bed, and I had the hardest time sleeping that night. I could not stop thinking about it. The next day, I woke up early in the morning, and the first thing I did was open my computer, and I watched it one more time. And it was abundantly clear to me, Donald Trump did not mock that reporter's disability. It did not happen. But this presented an even bigger conundrum for me, because if Donald Trump did not mock that reporter's disability, why did CNN tell me that he did? Because CNN had never lied to me before, sir. So, what went wrong at CNN on that day? And that led me to then start reaching out to fellow liberals, friends, co-workers, fellow New Yorkers, and just saying, hey, have you seen this? And what do you make of it? And the reaction that I got from simply asking that question was astounding. Friends who had known me my entire life began turning their backs on me and just I was met with this wall of contempt and hostility simply for asking this question. The reaction was, why are you defending Trump? What are you doing? What, you love Trump now? What, you're turning to the dark side? I don't love Trump. I hate Trump. I'm just trying to understand this. I don't get this. I don't understand what happened here. And it became really, really mind-boggling to me that most people didn't even want to watch it. Most people weren't even willing to look at it and just give me their opinion. They just wanted to rage out at me for asking that question. So it became very clear that I was not safe asking that question. So what I started doing at that point was going to work during the day, and then I would come home and I would get into bed at night and I would read and watch videos and do research. And this journey all began with one simple question. Does the media lie? And if the media does lie, how often is this happening? And why? What is their end game? What is the purpose? Why would they do this? I don't understand. So I began researching, and I found the most astounding things. One that always stands out to me is this video that I found of a group of black people who went to a Trump rally to support him. And they situated themselves in the arena when they got there. And when they sat down, CNN moved the camera so that they wouldn't be in the shot, and then framed up a group of white people. Because God forbid the world should see on CNN that a group of black people went to support Donald Trump at one of his rallies and weren't beaten and lynched in the process, and that Donald Trump has actually attracted a lot of people of all types to this movement. And so I began to begin to understand for the first time what's actually going on. It all started to become crystal clear to me at this point. If you are a minority in this country, if you are a black person, a brown person, an LGBT person, hell, even a woman, the media is lying to us and manipulating us and using our identity against us so that they can control the way that we feel and the way that we think and ultimately the way that we vote. They want us to believe at all times that we live in a system of oppression from which we cannot break free. They want us to believe that we are victims living in a country where we have no fair shot, no chance, that we can't overcome our circumstances no matter what we do. And when I thought back to how scared I was when Donald Trump got elected, terrified when Donald Trump got elected, and suddenly realized I didn't need to be afraid. I never needed to be afraid. I never needed to be afraid. And that other minorities in this country who are also terrified also don't need to be afraid. I realized that what they're doing, the liberal media and the manipulation of the Democrats, is evil. It is outright evil. And for people who cry on and on about racism and bigotry, I would rather deal with a bigot any day than somebody who pretends to be my friend to my face and lies to me to manipulate me and try to control me. At least I know where I stand with a bigot. At least I know where I stand with a bigot, but a liar and a deceiver I cannot abide by. And so I had to walk away from the liberal media, from the Democratic Party, from the ideology of liberalism, all of it. I walked away from the left. And I knew that there were tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people who were feeling exactly the same way that I was feeling. And that's why I decided one day to write all my thoughts on paper, tell the truth about why I was walking away. I shot this video, and I decided to create a campaign that I had hoped would become a movement, something that really resonated with people all across the country and all across the world, really. And so I started something called the #WalkAway campaign. I made this video, and I said, tell your stories too. Make your videos, tell your testimonies, talk about why you're walking away from the left, from the liberal media, from the ideology of liberalism, from the Democrat Party. Use this hashtag and let's form a network of support. Because a lot of people don't understand. When you're walking away from the Democrat Party, you're not just walking away from a political party or a political ideology. People are walking away from friends, family, coworkers. I know people who have walked away, who've lost their parents, who've lost their children, who've lost their grandchildren. I know people who've lost their jobs. And so it is very much like a cult leaving the left. And so I knew that people needed to have that network of support and band together, and that's why I created this movement, and it exploded. By the tens of thousands of people began joining this campaign, and we now have tens of thousands of video and written testimonials from people telling their stories about why they're leaving the left. The Walkaway campaign now has over 500,000 people who are joining us on all social media platforms. Thank you. But there's something else I want to talk about quickly because this is really, really important. I not only made this movement just for people who are leaving the left, I also made it as a gift of sorts to people on the right who I had come to fall in love with during the course of my transition away from the left. I thought to myself, if the rest of the world knew all of you as I have come to know you, they would love you too. But they don't know you. They don't know you at all. They know a caricature of what you are that they're told about through the liberal media, which bears absolutely no resemblance to reality whatsoever. And so I told conservatives, also make your testimonials, tell your stories. There's no reason in this day and age when everybody walks around with a video camera in their pocket, and that video camera connects directly with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of our social media platforms. You have the power right here to tell your own story, to control the narrative of who you are. You can take it back from the left. You can take it back from the liberal media. And so I've told conservatives, you are the walk-withs. You walk with those who walk away. Tell your stories and tell the truth about what it really means to be a conservative. It's not about racism and bigotry and hatred. It's about love of country. It's about patriotism. It's about believing that we live in a society that believes in freedom and that you can start with nothing and make something of yourself, because the American dream is alive and well for everybody. Whether you look like me or whether you look like this guy here or whether you look like her, or it's alive and well for all of us. And so I'm encouraging all people, especially this year, to become unsilent. It's time for the silent majority to become unsilent. We must push back. We must fight back. We can be as angry at the left as we want to be, and we can make fun of the left all we want to make fun of them for being crazy, for being outrageous, whatever, but the fact of the matter is, the left exists because the right was silent. Because the right allowed them to take control of everything. They control the media. They control Hollywood. They control everything you watch on television. They control everything that your children are learning in the classroom. They control everything. Because everyone on this side closed their mouths and only went in one day every 4 years or every year or whatever and pulled the lever and remained completely silent. Guys, we've got to push back. We've got to fight back. We've got to be unsilent. And that's what I'm telling people, hashtag unsilent. Use that hashtag and use the hashtag walkaway, everything you post for the rest of the year. Tell your stories, take back the truth, make your testimonials, push back against the left. Don't allow them to define the narrative in this country anymore. This night is about Tim Fazenbaker, so I want to say, Tim, wherever you are, where are you, Tim? We need to support people like Tim. We need to support anybody who's willing to stand up and push back against the left and say we want to take our country back, that America is worth fighting for. I'm giving you some props right now. You came in just in time. I'm saying that we need to support men like Tim Fazenbaker. And the reason why is because America is worth fighting for. Capitalism is worth fighting for. Socialism is worth fighting against. The First Amendment, I'm getting there, sir. Be patient, but say it again. Say what you said.
The Constitution.
The Constitution. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, they're worth fighting for.
Fourth Amendment.
The Fourth Amendment is worth fighting for. Say something. What's worth fighting for? Just shout it out. What do you want to fight for? What are we fighting for?
The American dream!
The American dream is worth fighting for. The inner cities are worth fighting for. Legal immigration is worth fighting for. Freedom is worth fighting for. The truth is worth fighting for. Thank you for fighting for the American people. Thank you for fighting for these things. I'm going to wrap this up tonight by telling you one last thing and then a very, very quick video, and you're going to love it. One thing that we've done with the Walkaway campaign is we have gone coast to coast last year doing events for minority communities that we want to free the minds of. We've done events for the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community. We've gotten into college campuses. We register new voters at every event that we do. We change the voter registrations of people at every event that we do. And we're very proud to announce that on May 1st in Nashville, Tennessee, we will be launching the very first Walkaway American Women's Town Hall. Let me tell you why. I have two nieces, 13 and 15 years old. And after I walked away from the left, I went to the Women's March in 2018. I went to the Women's March in 2019, 2020. And what I saw there was beyond going to the carnival. I mean, I am telling you that liberalism has made women on the left insane, deranged. I went there and I did street interviews at the Women's March, and I saw cross-eyed women screaming, spitting, wearing vaginas on their heads, telling me that they hate men, they hate Trump, they hate the patriarchy, they hate everything. And I thought to myself, is this all my nieces have to look forward to? Is this the only messaging in this country that young girls are going to get, or that young women are going to get, or hell, middle-aged and old women? Don't you think American women deserve better? Yes. So on May 1st in Nashville, Tennessee, the Walkaway American Women's Town Hall, starring Laura Trump, Judge Janine Pirro, Diamond and Silk, Peyton Hopkins, and a newcomer to our movement named Shamika Michelle. Listen, please make this trip. You'll be supporting the Walk Away campaign, and you'll be supporting American women, and you'll be supporting the Walk Away from the left. Make the trip to Nashville. Ladies, bring your girlfriends, your daughters, your mothers, and bring your husbands and your sons. Don't you think that young men in this country deserve to hear something positive about themselves from women? Instead of just hearing how awful they are because they happen to be men? All right, so I'm going to wrap it up tonight. I just want to show you a quick promo for the Walkaway American Women's Town Hall. You're going to love this. It's very fast. It's going to be amazing. All right, so it's the Walkaway American Women's Town Hall, May 1st, Nashville, Tennessee. Go to walkawaycampaign.com if you would like to get tickets, if you'd like to come to the event, make the trip to Nashville. It's going to be incredible. And if you're a part of a political group or organization or anything like that, you can set up a table in the lobby and tell people about your organization. Please go to walkawaycampaign.com and please vote for Tim Fazenbaker. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. Thank you.